So there's a couple of concepts that are important when it comes to navigating and understanding the website and kind of the project as I've laid it out. It's not anything that I'm going to assert is technical or is right. It's just a way that I've organized things, and it'll make a lot more sense when you go around and take a look at the different smaller pieces of the project that I've put together, because there's really two approaches as I went through and was trying to figure out a way to wrap my grips in leather and doing it myself rather than paying the $24 to $30 per grip for the slip-on type that you see online. And really, in looking at those slip-on, the most obvious thing was to just go find the underlistings, which this is what an underlisting looked like. I'll put it here on the upside down Black & Decker. We'll put the Black & Decker upside down because I doubt they're going to pay for the endorsement for us to have it right side up. So we'll just try to obscure it a little bit. But that's an underlisting. It's not an underlisting that's made for a leather golf grip. Actually, it came off of a different grip. I just took and cut the material off the outside, stripped it off. But it's an underlisting that we could use, and we'll get to that at some point in time. But the underlisting approach really is two components: the underlisting itself, and then leather, whether that's leather strap that you've seen. Again, this is strap. So we've essentially taken and we've cut a strap, and we just wind it all along the club. Or you've seen many different types of options with the underlistings from manufacturers now. They're out there still doing this stuff. And essentially what they've taken is they've taken a piece of leather that's similar to this, and then they'll take and they'll just wrap it around this underlisting, and then they'll just sew. They'll sew away and they'll sew this seam. So that's one approach. And it seems like it's a pretty good approach. The issue really comes down, though, to these guys. They're not available. You can't find anybody that's really selling them. If you happen to find somebody that's selling them, they're typically $15, $18 per underlisting, which that's the twice of the cost of a regular grip. There's another approach you can take, similar to what I did with this, an old grip, and cut off the outside material, leaving the underlisting. But chasing all those down is probably not a realistic approach. So it's not easy in taking this approach, but we'll work on it and we'll try to figure it out. But because it's not so easy, even though it seems like just two pieces, you ought to be able to do that. This piece, the complexity of getting these pieces makes it a little bit prohibitive. So the other approach is what I call the component approach. And I remind you, these aren't official names for the approaches. These are my names. It's the way that I've organized information on the website. So you'll hear me talk about the underlisting approach, which is a really the leather and an underlisting. And then you hear me talk about a component approach. And a component approach really has four major components to it. It has the cap, and then it'll have an underlisting material, which is under the grip. And as you see here, this underlisting material is cork. I've used cork. This is a prototype club that we tried working on from months back. This is one of the first clubs that we put together. So this cork is actually just laid over regular grip tape. So there's grip tape on the shaft and then cork that goes over that. And then obviously the leather. And the leather, again, it can be strap or it can be this and sewn up. And I currently have a driver in play where that's what I've used. I've used this approach with an underlisting material, a butt cap, and then the last piece is this ferrule. Move my hands here. This ferrule that's right down here makes it just aesthetically nice, so you just don't have leather that just stops on the club. In addition to, there's some function to it. It's better seen actually on the underlisting itself. I'll use the underlisting, but if you can see where that kind of peels back, so we can tuck the leather when we finish up. We can tuck the leather in hopes that that helps it stay wound better on here if we're using a strap approach. Plus it just makes it, again, look a lot nicer and neater. So 2 major approaches. It's the way that we've got information organized on the site. When we talk about the different things that we do, we'll talk about components, butt cap, the underlist material, the leather itself, whether that is strap or the one piece that we stitch together, and then this ferrule. So understanding those 2 approaches should make it easier to navigate the site, and hopefully it makes it a little more clear to you kind of how we've approached this. And as I said before, the underlisting seems a lot simpler, but in fact what we've found out is trying to figure out the component has actually yielded us prototypes a little bit faster than doing the other way. So initially you're going to see more information on the component approach than you will the underlisting, but we'll get after underlistings at some point in time, so keep checking back.